This will be easier for me to upload to YouTube. And I won't have to fill my hard drive. Alright, is everyone
Nice.
ready? So,
Apparently not.
yeah, so brief overview of the changes for the record. Let me go through these. Alright, just bug. Monitors, slight maneuverability buff, big C90 buff, a bunch of different adjustments to the DC teams. So now, I believe the way the math works out is small DCs are actually more point efficient, but they take more space to get enough of them to make up the difference versus large DCs. The other big one is beam DDs have a nerf so that they can no longer overheat their beam for as long. A bunch of different changes have gone into the Seeker metagame with something called memory validation, which is where if you have a validator on a Seeker and it checks the box that yes, this is a valid target, now it can remember that. So like if you have, for example, an ARAD validator and then the target turns off its radars, that will not spoof the missile anymore because it remembers that the target that was validated and where it is. So that's a pretty interesting buff. It's going to take a while for that one to shake out and see exactly how it affects the missile metagame. But initial reports are that ANS missiles are slightly more reliable, at least as far as like hybrids go, and OSP not as much. Mostly because ANS has a lot more access to command jammers. I still think command seekers are the gold standard for ANS trying to kill OSP ships. Um, Nothing will take that out except an Acello. And with the huge buffing of the monitors, really, the ANS, it almost feels like they have to have their hybrid game now in order to take out the monitor swarms, which are just everywhere. The teeth are so sharp on the monitors now, that a swarm of them can easily deal with even a pair of light cruisers. The Hesh, especially coming out of the C90s, can do a ton of damage to CLs now. Even the bombshell is strong enough to threaten DDs. When you don't even have a target, you can just fire it in their general direction. Especially with the new beam DD beam not being able to be overheated as long, any chip damage on that nose mounted weapon is just really, really debilitating. So we'll go over the teams now. Team 1 ANS, Sumike, Vren, Captain James, and Das. I'm not familiar with Captain James too much, but I'm expecting Sumike to field his light cruiser with a split complement of missile frigates. Das usually, as far as I know, brings a capping fleet with a mix of corvettes and frigates, and Vren will play a flavor of his Axford, more than likely. Probably what he's doing right now is working on some goalie beam DDs. Not so Lone Wolf and Pyrope, I'm not sure. I'm expecting at least one monitor swarm out of OSP, which is comprised of Vastal, Top 10 Racer, Not So Lone Wolf, and Pyrope. And these are tester games, so expect to see beams being fielded, possibly a container liner, and definitely monitors in the mix. So this is the next minor balance patch, and unlike some of the previous ones, this is really a very broad patch touching a bunch of different areas for both ANS and OSP, strictly with the goal of mixing up the meta and taking some things that aren't used as much or a little bit weaker right now. For example, the monitors, and putting them back into the mix. And it has definitely shaken up the game a lot. I've seen a bunch of fleets do incredibly well that in other circumstances on the live version of the game would almost be considered like meme fleets. So here's Ruby Queen, a favorite of Pyrope, her Axford, possibly with a rail DD. It's kind of an interesting combo. See what comes out. This is Yukon. It's sort of like Pillars if you decided to put a giant piece of concrete down the middle of it. So there's flank game, and the focus is still on A point, but you really get two halves split between B, D, and E and C here. A favorite position for OSP, I think, is the tip of the wall here, which gives them sight lines to D, B, and A. You might see some missile play up there, or 450s. Or 250s on this LN here. I'm going to assume that this is in a pair with a plasma liner. Let's see if that prediction is true. Okay, so this is top 10. And yep, a E-Reg. So that's the casemate version with some decoys on the backside. With that are a pair of capping shuttles. Vastal over here has brought a 450 liner along with some C90 MNs. Those are split off though. The rest of the fleet, I'm gonna guess, is capping shuttles. And that's what that is. Okay, Pyrope. Oh, Pyrope. So I'm playing the Axford because she's on OSP. So that means this is a 450 liner with a couple of decoys, a PD shuttle, a pair of them, LRT, EWR combi monitor, and a capper. And not so lone wolf. Here we go. This is what I was more thinking was going to come. So mixed plasma, 100 mil, and C90 cannons on a swarm of MMs. See that? All right. Well, Captain James has brought a beam BB. Holy moly, it's been a while since I've seen one of these. With a rack of S3Hs. So that could do a lot of damage if it stays hidden. See how that does. Das, meanwhile, has gone with a rail Axford. Interesting. So rails have undergone some changes. These turrets now fire with an autoloader, so it's a burst weapon now, similar to the plasma cannon from OSP. And the total fire rate, I think, has been raised slightly. However, they still do not a whole lot of damage, but will do things like spread fires and other non-explosive critical effects. So they won't cause reactor deaths, but they cause everything else. It's very annoying to fight against them. Sumike has a his gun CL, and it looks like he's gone with the bombers instead of the frigates. So these are size 2 shuttles that he has going in some swarms around here. And Vren, a double? Is this double? Wow, that is unexpected. I was not expecting him to take DF Oak out. Alright, so let's look at initial deployment, OSP going exclusively on this 180 flank here. Oh, looks like the monitors have already decided to bombshell these shuttles, which are going for A, and are taking 450 fire in return. Definitely. Oh, A should be going to OSP here. Oh no! A torpedo hits a shuttle. That's unfortunate, but it looks like it got very lucky. Oh no, it did not. It lost its CIC. So that is probably that shuttle done for. Meanwhile, the 450 liner is getting 450 in return. This is a very aggressive play from these Axfords. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of missiles to punish this aggressive push here. There's A going to OSP. So 450s also had a slight velocity buff that makes them a little bit more accurate at range. But this is still... I doubt they have FCR lock, and they're firing right at the edge. So not too much damage going on to this liner here. But it does need to pull behind this rock before they get much closer. Full 3 Axfords firing at it, including the rails, which are going to start doing a lot of thruster damage here. That's the real danger, as the fires spread and tie up the DC teams. I don't know if it's gonna escape any more damage here. It looks like it gets pegged a few times before backing off. So it looks like ANS is either red or just lucked into a counter push here. They're very in the open. But like I mentioned, there are not any missiles available to the OSP team to really punish being without cover. So now it's going to come down to whether, or I suppose which team gets their gun sights and groups fire better, which right now Vren just providing this massive 450 wall in the center here is going to chase off OSP for the moment, it looks like. But
OSP is pretty spread out, so Vren's 4-track correlator Axford will be able to own the skies. Wolf is looking in that direction though, and those monitors probably have enough firepower to at least challenge them, and he can get a radar track.
yeah, they definitely have them sighted. I think it's more a range issue right now. So it looks like standoff missiles are going to be the game for the moment. Let's see if these have sussed out monitor. It looks like they have. So the other change that went in is chaff is a little bit less effective now, and we see that right there as all of them slam into that. Those might have been command validated. I think they were act command. Wasn't sure there. Meanwhile, Sumike pressuring on the top and the sides with his CL and his bombers on the top. This rail Axford, I'm not sold on the ANS rails. still, but I guess we'll see. They're still mostly an annoyance in my book, but they do actually do enough damage to threaten a small ship. Well, looks like Bren has decided to fire on this decoy container. Oh, he actually hit it. That was unexpected. Oh, good for him. He knows there's decoys about. This is kind of unusual for ships to be this far out. Now, the bombers, of course, make sense, but these Axfords don't look like they're going down. It looks like they want to hang out here. Oh, they're being shot by Pyropes LN. Oh, and here come... Oh, I didn't realize there were roll-offs on the back of this. Let's see how these command acts fare.
Oof. Those are roll-off missiles supported by a pair of decoy containers. And by decoy, I mean support container, not the...
Oh, really? Interesting. Wonder what that is going to do. Either rate, I'm expecting these to be easily cleaned up by the PD. There go actives and chaff and all manner of nopes. And there's the command jamming, which is why those fly off into the nether. And that is definitely still true for ANS. They can much more easily get that Omni jamming out. That makes it almost impossible to hit with combination seekers for OSP. I think your best bet is semi-actives fired down a lighthouse track, but even that is not guaranteed. Oh, here comes some more ARAD Axe. Oh no! These are definitely going to hit this LRT monitor if it doesn't shut everything off. Oh no. Yep, this has gotten lost in the mix, and that's the end of that monitor. Is the same true for... Oh, well, I guess this one's already dead. Yeah, these are command vals. So that's definitely also dead. Oh, looks like some rockets. Are they gonna catch this sprinter here? Oof, barely evaded. Is that the only weapon on this? Oh, no, it's got a cannon also, so it can do the dance over here on D. So a little bit of jockeying for position. Poking out the eyes of OSP is always good. Sumike, of course, does an excellent job at that. See, I think this railgun... What is it blasting at? This monitor here. Yeah, so you can see now, you know, it will apply fires, but any tough ship with enough DC, it's going to be able to take a lot of punishment. Granted, all of these debuffs are super annoying to deal with. Let's see what this beam BB is doing. Looks like it wants to get a flank off. I'm not sure if it's been spotted. It's actually almost in beam range. Is it? It's still 6 on the beam turret, right? 6K?
Only 5, I'm afraid.
Oh, that's right. Is it still 6 on the DD nose?
Yeah, 6 on the DD.
Okay, that's right. Let's
I
see.
get lucky here. I don't know if Pyroball is going to come
Yeah, probably
down.
not.
There's shuttles around it. There it goes.
Well, it's been
Close.
tracked. It hasn't been ID'd.
That's true. It's kind of an unusual place for a BBB to be anyway.
Oh, actually, I think it's this LN that sees it, or one of the shuttles.
I think it's Top 10 Racers shuttle.
Yeah. Which they might not figure out. It's off sensors again, so.
Yeah, they're jamming it. Or Sumike is at least.
Ugh. I can feel the frustration of Lone Wolf getting railed. Not really able. It looks like he wants to threaten this CL, but there's a lot of open space he has to go through to get there.
Notably, Wolf brought very little DC. You can't really afford 6 monitors unless you do something silly like only bring 2 rapids on each one.
Well, they are tough, but
not tough enough to resist rails.
yeah, we will absolutely see them duck back behind here. There's no other choice for them. It would be suicide for them to go out and engage the CL. I mean, at this point, it's probably best for OSP to camp their points and let the score tick up and wait for ANS to make a mistake. You don't want to duel with dual gun Axfords in the open. Especially with rail support. Meanwhile, ANS, they really want to break a flank off here. The middle of the map is looking a little bit dangerous, I suppose.
Yeah. I think the best move for them would be to rotate over towards the BD side with at least some of their forces. And try and grab that point, but
I think that's what Sumike up top is actually doing right now, but a lot of distance and time has been spent on this this right flank here. I suppose it's west. Oh no, it's south. This is south. Right, yeah, that's north, that's east, yeah.
the BB's been spotted again. Only briefly.
Yeah, Pyro looks to be in full retreat here. This is a smart move. There's not really much to be gained from continuing to push that flank. You can pull back, get some support for your team.
And also the bike cruiser.
Yeah, it's that beam BB really that's the issue, and a play like this is really fortunate for OSP now because the beam BB has spent all of its time puttering around to try and get a flank that isn't even contested anymore.
Yeah. Honestly, she probably doesn't even know it's a battleship unless somebody brought an intel center. But you can kind of tell when something's equipped with beams and is trying to get close to your gunships, and you don't want to be in that situation.
Yeah, even without the intel on the BB, just seeing the CL and everything push you on a flank that, I mean, if you stay and go into a gunfight with them, both sides will take a bunch of damage. There's not really a benefit to holding a flank like that. You put pressure on the middle, but if you see they're not going for the middle and instead they're coming to the flank, I think the retreat is definitely the best play.
Top 10 Racer does have an intel center, so chances are they've identified it by now.
Yeah, if that's the case, it's going to have long, hard road ahead of it.
Nobody on the OSP team is gonna get within 5 kilometers unless they absolutely have to. And right now they have 3 points and they can just take their time.
Yep, the clock is ticking down for ANS here. You gotta make something happen. Looks like Sumike is thinking about an about face here. Either that or is moving to engage these monitors? Yeah. Yeah, he's most likely moving to engage these monitors. Still has a couple of missiles, at least 1 or 2 strikes left in them. Let's see what else is happening. A lot of jamming, some standoff, long-range artillery fire. That's pretty much it. Not a whole lot of missiles, so on either side. Just a bunch of gun platforms. Kind of an interesting position for these monitors to be so far apart from one another. Not sure what this one on the bottom is doing. Maybe it's trying to cover A, I guess. Oh, sneaky shuttle went over to B. This Corvette can't do anything about it. What about this? Oh, a Pinard frigate. Spyglass frigate. Do much either. Oh, here comes the missile strike. See what this monitor has to say about it. Probably not much, especially if these have weave on them. Oh no. Comes the grape. Yep. Oh, didn't manage to knock it out. Is that the end of the missiles? Pretty much. There's 1 S2, oh, so 3 more.
We are contesting Zone Boxer.
Let's see where these are going. Looks like they been fired at the
enemy is securing
point.
Zone Boxer. The enemy secured Zone Boxer.
Oh, a bunch of chaff
Going
goes
for the
out.
shuttle, I think, but Fastall's turned his radar off, so I doubt those will get him.
Shoosh. Straight through. And with that, the missile threat on... Oh. Oh my. I missed what happened to here, but it looks like the BB got 450'd in the buttocks here. And, yeah, that's not good. Has he fired his missiles yet?
He's been launching them like 1 at a time, and they've been going into rocks because they're hot launched and have no maneuverability.
Oh no. Oh, a
This
bunch
guy
of...
really seems to like the drive tanking strategy.
Oof. Go the S2s.
Not that many, so it's
Not that
no,
many, but
he
this
doesn't
is no
need
longer
that
a
many.
healthy looking BB. I don't even know if it has enough energy to fire these beams anymore. Oh, and it continues to get shot.
It's aiming 1 beam at something, probably pirate, but it's basically dead at this point.
Yeah.
Not really, but its fate has been sealed.
Well, looks like Sumike's picked well, nope, it's still alive. Oh gosh, these things are so tough. Still enough restorers to get back into the game. Yeah, this poor battleship. It's not long for the world. If they hadn't have had 450s and missiles, maybe going drive cone first is a play, but between the new C90 Hesh and 450s and everything else, like, this is definitely not the play now. It's just,
Honestly, I don't know if it ever was. I think bow tanking is just better.
there was a time you could do funny things if you knew you were going into 250s with it.
Perhaps. But I
But,
really like my engines.
The enemy is securing zone dagger.
That time hasn't been for a long time. Meanwhile,
That being said, this is a 4 Whiplash BB, so maybe he just,
couldn't turn fast
spawned in
enough.
like that and hasn't been able to turn for the entire match.
That could be. Could be. There
4
goes that.
Whiplashes, oh my.
Oh, now comes desperate ANS plays. If Sumike came in with these Corvettes, they could absolutely take D. They have to know that there's not much over here.
We are contesting zone
They're not
dagger.
like armed though, are they? I
Well,
guess they have like a couple of guns between them.
so they have a couple missiles left.
Hmm.
Maybe two missile strikes left. But yeah, they actually do need a 4 cap now to win. So I think they've basically run out of time. Not that
And
they could have done anything.
I don't know. They've just
The enemy is securing zone dagger.
lost. Das has lost all his Corvettes. The 3K BB is more or less neutralized, and OSP is
The enemy
almost
secured zone
entirely
dagger.
healthy, save for a couple of combat monitors, or spotting monitors rather.
And so what I like to say about the rails are it's a good weapon to use when you're already winning. If you're losing though, you're probably not going to be able to turn it around with some rails.
Nah. And I think they could have been like valuable insurance against mass drivers perhaps, or even used to shut down plasma liners, but OSP only had a singular plasma liner this game, so didn't have a whole lot of targets. I suppose there's Wolf's monitors as well, but those were hiding most of the time, and like you said, rails aren't great for actively pushing into contested territory.
Get to see now the new C90 Hesh, coupled with all of the 100 mil, and I'm sure we'll see plasma in a second here. It's just so much more effective against Axfords. Not that it was ever really bad, but this is something else. Yeah, here comes the plasma. Over here, another S2 strike. Oh, looks like this one is gonna get through. A couple hits. That was 2. Wow, this Axford's just gonna get roasted. Yeah, being in full weapons range on a monitor swarm now is really not a
enemy
place
is
you want to
securing
be.
zone
Oh
boxes.
no, here comes some rocket containers? It's an interesting choice. Looks like they're gonna get cleaned up by defenders. Yep, they do.
Yeah, it looks like they were getting jammed out, so didn't even stage before the defenders got them.
Let's see what else is going on. Oh, the cripple. Well, I shouldn't say crippled. The bruised
Enemy
gun
secured zone
monitors that
dagger.
we're
The enemy secured zone
rear
X.
guarding have taken back D,
are
which has
contesting zone
dashed the
box.
hopes of an ANS 4 cap, and they are guaranteed to lose now. Basically. And I still maintain that I think if ANS deathballed up and said we're going to drive to A, this would be the same outcome pretty much here. Unless perhaps that Beam BB was able to sneak in and get range on something like the monitors.
Yeah, so with perfect information, I think the play is the Axfords and CL all bunch up, right? Maybe the CL goes to explore D with the Corvettes actually. But the Axfords bunch up and the Beam BB goes to C.
The enemy is securing zone
And then the
box.
Axfords drive forwards while the Beam BB rushes towards Wolf Swamp to like push them out of position. But I don't know, it's kind of a hard matchup. I don't really like the Beam BB on this map, and OSP had just had so much firepower.
We tried to come up with a plan to keep our Beam BB from getting hell murdered immediately, and
Yeah.
it kind of didn't work. Which
Holy shit, I tanked 20,000 damage.
BB
I mean,
gaming.
the plan to keep
No,
Beam
it's not
BB
dead.
alive worked until you guys had to advance into us. because
Right
we
until
were
yeah, until we had
Yeah.
to use the BB.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can't just
BB
BB on
was
you.
And I mean, it was
Ah.
you know, the other ships. Like if there was another ship that was in that position advancing down that line, right? That also would have died, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you guys had to
Yeah.
because you were down
Yeah.
on caps. So
Yeah. Like unfamiliar cap fleet, I really threw the match on the right side. Like I had
yeah.
But that
Vestal
angle
was-
on A is cool that you had at the beginning. I did not realize that I could just fucking die on approach to that rock with Corvettes that quickly. But
Yeah.
that's
Wait,
good.
how the hell is the Shankov still alive? We fired so much shit at it.
It's again God's tankiest liner.
Yeah, it's got so many fucking DC.
Did you get double DCXs on that?
And it's,
No,
it's like 2 reinforced DCX, 2 larges, right?
one DCX, one large, one DCX, one storage, a few reinforced,
Yeah.
Dang
and
it.
a large.
Yeah.
No, 2 large or something like that. I think I can't remember. There's a lot of
Yeah.
times.
Whatever it is, it's fucking nuts.
I mean, it looks like it's in good shape, but it really didn't get hit that much.
The 450, the track Kyler Swagglers just didn't hit it. Oh well.
Well, look
No,
at
you're hitting
your
it, but
look at your
that's the sort of-
accuracy though. 450 AP, 18%. What were
Dang
you
it.
shooting at it?
The monitors. The dodulus
That
on the monitors is
explains.
real.
Yeah.
Who's
Most
Captain
of that,
James?
yeah.
Is anyone on this call Captain James? The
That's
beam
me.
user?
That was me.
Alright. A few things to note for your beam battleship. You're using stonewalls. You really need to be using
Yes.
defenders.
So specifically, this ship, and therefore my fleet, is from a housemate of mine. And
Ah,
they haven't encountered the sheer insanity of, just use defenders, not flak.
Like a little
So
bit of
I
flak
will
is
be,
fine.
I will be pivoting most of my fleets over to a better mix of direct PD and missile defense.
Why was it that your BB was approaching us, stern on? Is that
Yes.
just like a-
So this ship takes 3 minutes to make a run. It takes 3 minutes to make a 180 roll, and 5 minutes to yaw.
How many? What are your drives? Are you using
He has
whiplash?
3
only?
whiplashes.
4
Four
whiplashes.
whiplashes.
Oh no.
It is the fastest BB, but it's probably going to enter the AOS first and leave the AOS first.
Oh no. Okay, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Really?
That was an interesting
Okay.
match because you guys had like sensor superiority on us, but we had cap superiority. So it was like a nice. It was an interesting because usually it's like kind of you have
Yeah.
you're crushing both of them or they're both of them are even. It's yeah, instead of like one of them each being lopsided to
Also,
one team.
I
gotta
don't
say
know
it's-
why, but my friend has put a fucking illuminator, a floodlight on this battleship.
He probably used it to try to anti-jam it because he probably got jammed and was frustrated. Okay, just don't start Nebulous playing battleships. Don't, just,
Oh,
I don't know why people do this.
My first fleet I built was the most boring of boring cruiser fleets. And then
Brandon.
my second fleet was, you can see it in the shipyard.
It's
You said
easier
I
to
really like
control one
motors.
ship. That's just how it
I
is.
like
That's the
that.
benefit of a
Cryptic,
battleship.
you
I
know
like
that's
that
not true.
container plus
It
S2
is
missile
true.
needed.
It is easier to
It is
control
true.
one ship.
It is, but the 2 ships isn't that big of a jump, and having the battleship makes you like a threat magnet, which is why it's like
Don't
somewhat
get me wrong.
questionable.
I agree. You should start with Axfords, but the BB is a newbie magnet because people see, oh, it's one ship. It'll be super powerful, and I'll just blast everybody.
Yeah, I'm
I mean,
aware.
they usually survive for quite a while, even if they just get pounded away.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think that like new players especially, should just play whatever they like so that they enjoy
true.
playing the game and gain experience.
I
And the BB is
know.
not too bad because at least you stay alive really long times compared to other
I
ships, so you
know.
spend longer in the game and
I know,
learning about
Timmy,
the
I'm
game.
just salty. I'm just a bit salty after just being a losing streak with ANS.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing how ANS can push on to a cap with anything less than a Vauxhall at this point.
I mean, that map, I feel like that map is just difficult if you lose the A point, because then there's just so many rocks the enemy team can hide behind and just fall back on if they get pushed. And
There's
But,
so
so
it's
many
like,
maps that
It's
have
no
a neutral
worse.
A point though.
It's no worse than Pillars, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
But Pillars
or
is
Aurora or Honeycomb. There's so many maps with a neutral A point.
well, it's Honeycomb has like 3 neutral points, right? So like
Sorry, not
it-
Honeycomb. Not Honeycomb. Sorry. What is that damn thing? Arroyo with the heartbeat thing. The heart.
yeah, Arroyo, yeah.
Yeah, Arroyo,
Aorta.
right?
Yeah.
Aorta's the heart. map.
Oh, Aorta.
Arroyo-
Yeah, sorry.
Well,
Aorta,
Arroyo
right?
also has a neutral point, but
There's
it's
like
a
so
little
many
easier
maps
to
that have
push.
neutral points. Is my point, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know. It's an
like-
interesting development.
yeah, like at the end of the game, like I think we were recovering our cap points, but we just
Mhm.
didn't have enough time because it takes too long to push into frickin' rocks.
Yeah. Well, so I will say, like one thing that was a pretty critical error that cost us a lot was just not being familiar with the fleet. I didn't deploy any like actual like torp corps onto the right side. I had both of them on A, and then I was like, oh well, maybe it'll help me hold A. And then they both just got fucking deleted because I took a bad approach onto the rock to the left of A. So like, I lost my entire offensive cap defense ability besides the rail axe for like 5 minutes in, which it didn't change the outcome, but losing B made it like unwinnable. Right?
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll mute myself.
So I will say that I really noticed the long haul changes. I was able to get up to speed, but it was definitely a lot slower, like stopping and starting again in a different direction. And there was one point down by E-Rock, or down by E Point when I was by a rock down there, to where I was trying to get behind it out of the way of the Vauxhall because I couldn't see the Vauxhall, and I was just like unable to accelerate for a moment because my ship had to like basically adjust which direction it was going, and then it started accelerating again. So it's definitely a lot like less responsive with the long haul, but you can definitely get up to speed.